right now, we turn our attention to the Matt Murphy Show hotline, where Ben Cunningham awaits. He is a local tax advocate. He was one of the originators of the Nashville Tea Party. He was instrumental in preventing a state income tax in the state of Tennessee some years ago. He's a good friend of the show, and he joins us on the Murphy Show hotline to talk about what's coming down for Davidson County. Ben, good to talk with you. How are you, sir?
Hey, Matt, doing great. Happy pre-tax day.
I know. We got an extension, Ben. That's
yes, I heard that. I did not know that, man, to November. Sweet.
Woo! I mean, hallelujah. And look at me. I've already paid my $300 and some odd on top of what I already prepaid, obviously. Well, look, we don't have to worry about state income tax in the state of Tennessee, partially because of you. So thank you for that on behalf of everybody, Ben.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a great effort and fun, and we've put it in the Constitution, and we don't have to worry about it now. So, and there's a constitutional amendment coming up. I think you've talked about it, where they're trying to outlaw a statewide property tax, which is a good thing, and hopefully that'll get through the next ballot.
No, we certainly hope so, and I believe that it will get at least to the ballot. I think it has gotten enough on the second reading. This is the second time around, which is what the Constitution, it's my understanding, requires to get something like this on the ballot. So hopefully it'll get before the people, and I think if it does, the people will do the right thing and codify that in the Constitution. I wish I could say the same thing about property tax increases in Davidson County, but I can't. Ben, you and I have talked about our mayor, Freddie O'Connell, several times, and we discussed the transit tax. Sadly, that became a reality, but I don't know that Freddie's going to get the amount of money that he anticipated from the feds in terms of grant dollars out of this transit tax deal. And I think that perhaps, I don't know if it impacts his decision on what he's going to do with property taxes, but I think it certainly solidifies it in a bad direction. Just give me a lay of the land as you see it in Davidson County.
Absolutely. He's already talking about that. He's talking about, and the members of the council are talking about it, the fact that the federal grants are not going to be there because we're running a $2 trillion federal budget and we got to cut spending. But yeah, he's already talking about that. There's a lot of pressure. Nate Rao is a reporter for Axios and has covered Metro government for a long, long time. And he was on a podcast the other day, and they're asking him over under about the tax increase. Do you think it'll be over 20% or under 20%? He said, now this is a guy that's been covering Metro for a long time. He said over 20%.
Oh, wow.
He thinks the tax increase will be over 20%. And, you know, Freddie's got all these constituencies he's got to pander to, all the far left folks that are going to want more money. You're right about transit. He's not going to get the 25 or 30% of the funding that he anticipated to come from the federal government. So he's going to be crying about that. And we're going to get into a doom loop here in Davidson County. And that's what concerns me. People, if you look at the migration statistics, people have been moving out of Davidson County, net out migration since 2016. In 2021, 18,000 more people moved out of Davidson County than moved into Davidson County. And we're seeing the same kind of doom loop that we see in other of these Democratic urban areas. And he's going to have so much pressure on him to increase property taxes. We have got to stand up to this man, because we're going to get in the same situation that these other urban areas are in, where you have the super rich living and who can afford to stay, and you have the very poor who can't afford to move.
And the middle class gets
the middle class.
Middle class gets the heck out of there. And I would note, and you well know this, Ben, I mean, Davidson County loses population in the midst of a boom for the metro region. I mean, it's not as if Williamson County and Murray County and Wilson County and Sumner County, I mean, these are places that are not suffering. They're growing by leaps and bounds, in part because of the numbers of people that are moving out of Davidson County. Yeah,
Rutherford, Sumner, Williamson, Wilson, they're all growing at about 3 times the rate. Davidson County is growing slightly because of international migration and, of course, natural births and deaths, but the out-migration, when people move to within the United States, when you look at what's called domestic migration, people are moving out. Another place they're moving out of is Memphis, another Democratic stronghold. People are just moving out of Memphis in droves. It's not quite as bad in Davidson County, but it will be as bad I mean, we've had a 34% increase in Davidson County in 2021, just 3 years ago, a 34% increase, and we're looking at what will probably be a 20% plus increase. We won't find out about this until May 1. That's when Freddie makes his State of the Metro address, and we'll find out exactly what he's proposing then. But we have got to fight this, or we're just throwing away the future of Davidson County. And if you're in Davidson County, I'd choose to do two things. Choose between two options. Number one, either move the hell out of Davidson County or fight this tax increase, because you're going to have to move out at some point if the taxes keep going up. And we see this again and again. They hollow out the tax base. You have to raise taxes. And it just again, you get in that doom loop, and all the liberals, all they can do is say, let's spend more money.
Right.
And Freddie's he's had trouble with the council on the license plate reader, on the police oversight board. All those issues have kind of put him crossways with the council. So he's going to try to please them as much as he can, and he's going to try to disregard the taxpayers. And the taxpayers of Davidson County have got to stand up on this.
It doesn't seem to me, Ben, to be a money problem. The state of Tennessee is financially solvent. The state of Tennessee manages its money properly. And Nashville is a breadwinner in terms of bringing in tourist dollars and bringing in other tax dollars. It has to be a spending problem.
It is definitely a spending problem. If you look at the revenue numbers from property taxes after the 34% increase in 2021, of course, property tax revenues exploded in Davidson County. They went up over the time period from 2014 to 2024. The cost of living went up 22%. The amount of revenue from property taxes went up 66%. The revenue from property taxes is going up 3 times the rate of inflation. This is not a revenue problem. Metro has plenty of revenue. They simply will not control spending. Thank goodness on the national level we've got DOGE now, and hopefully the Congress is going to show some spine and through the reconciliation process cut spending. And we've got to do the same reexamination here on locally. And by the way, Matt, there is a group that's being formed for not, I don't think they're calling it DOGE, but basically to look at the Metro budget very, very closely and see where these cost savings can be made. And if anybody's interested in getting involved in that process, they can just email me, ben@NashvilleTeaParty.com, ben@NashvilleTeaParty.com. And if you also will allow me to plug, there's a meeting tomorrow night. Americans for Prosperity is putting on a meeting in the Davidson County GOP at the rooftop table and tavern up on top of the Fairfield Inn at the Gulch from 6:30 to 8:30. And don't want to tempt people too much, but Americans for Prosperity is paying for the alcohol. So if you come, we'll get to discuss property taxes and might even get a drink on
Ben,
tab of Americans for Prosperity.
You'll be there?
I will be there.
I know at least one other person who will be there. You know who that is?
Who is that?
That's me.
All right.
I've been asked to stop by right after the show, and so I'll be coming by a little bit tardy. You know, obviously I've got obligations until 7, but I should be there 7:15, 7:30. So I'll absolutely be there, and I absolutely support the effort. And while I do not live in Davidson County, I may at some point down the road, may not. It really depends on some of these decision-making, the decision-making process on the part of the local leadership. Now, here's the two-part question. What was the reaction? I was not here when the 34% increase went through under Cooper. What was the reaction immediately before and after? And then the follow-up is, what can we do about it, Ben, other than just watch, other than perhaps organize? I mean, help me understand the reaction. I fear that maybe Davidson County is too far gone in terms of those of us who want to manage our money in a proper fashion.
That is kind of the attitude of a lot of folks. People in 2020, 2021, when Cooper said he He had run, again, we see this so many times, he had run saying, oh, no, we can't raise property taxes, can't raise property taxes. Got in the middle of COVID and raised property taxes. 34%. People raised hell, but the Metro Council passed it anyway. And I would tell people right now, if you are in Davidson County, write an email today, this minute, to mayor@nashville.gov, mayor@nashville.gov. Start letting your voice be heard. And also find out who your council person is and start emailing them and call them and say, we cannot have another property tax increase on top of the 34% and on top of the half-cent sales tax for the transit. If we have another one, we're simply going to drive more people out of Davidson County. And that's exactly what's going to happen. People are going to choose to move out of Davidson County. It's going to erode the tax base. It's going to put more pressure on the revenue side, and it's going to increase property taxes even more. And we see that again and again and again. Memphis just raised property taxes. They're in the doom loop. We see it in Chicago. Mm-hmm. We see it in Maryland. They just raised statewide taxes up there. In these Democratic strongholds, that's what they do unless people fight back. And we're here in red Tennessee. We ought to be able to stop this. And I sure hope people in Davidson County will. The first thing to do is email the mayor at mayor@nashville.gov.
And when
mayor@nashville.gov.
When you talk about that doom loop, Ben, I mean, you're right. I mean, it starts with the general population. When the population starts decreasing, they'll start going after the businesses hot and heavy. And the businesses will start leaving as well as the population decreases. And then you're in a hell of a mess. Yeah.
We see it in Chicago. They start pursuing other revenue sources. There's the euphemism. You're right. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And people finally say, I've had enough. I'm getting the hell out of here. And a lot of people already have. They're moving to Rutherford. They're moving to Sumner. But Davidson County, we can't let this happen to Davidson County. We just cannot. We've got to stand up. This is Tennessee. This is red Tennessee. We've got to stop these ultra-left liberals from ruining Davidson County.
Ben, I will see you tomorrow night at the Fairfield Inn in the Gulch, and I encourage people to contact you, Ben, at NashvilleTeaParty.com. And give the mayor's email one more time, just so folks can get it.
Very simple. Mayor, MAYOR, @nashville.gov.
There you go.
Very simple. Write him an email.
And hopefully we'll see. Hopefully we'll see a big crowd tomorrow night. Ben, thank you for your tenacity on this issue. As always, it's a pleasure talking with you. We'll do it again next time.
Thanks so much, Matt. Appreciate it.